What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about the fans' reaction to when Kevin Durant went down in Game 5. So let's see what they have to say about that.
DeMarcus Cousins and Draymond Green were absolutely right. I would lean on Steph Curry because I thought he was most eloquent in the matter when he said, that has not been his experience. He's been to Toronto on many occasions. It's a phenomenal city. Canadian citizens are known for their class, by and large, by a lot of athletes who speak about Canadians. They speak incredibly highly of the fan base here. Yeah. There is no question about that. But I also think that it speaks to the level of desperation that this city has when it comes to being relevant basketball-wise. Because when you've never won, you basically say, we want to win at all costs. KD is here. Bottom line is, you know what? We damn sure know we ain't gonna win with him on the court. So if he has to be hurt in order for us to win, so be it. It wasn't everybody, but it was enough people where you could hear it, and you have to applaud Danny Green, Kyle Lowry, and Serge Ibaka, all of whom immediately went to the aid of Kevin Durant, and all of whom looked at the crowd and was like, no, don't do that. That's the wrong thing to do. And it just shows that, you know what, there's always more good than bad in this world. It's just that, unfortunately, those who are bad, unfortunately, get some of the attention.
Let's listen very carefully.
So I agree with Stephen A. Smith somewhat, but let's not sugarcoat the situation. So you know that the fans were laughing and hooting and hollering because Kevin Durant went down and he can't hurt. So to act like that's not why they were cheering, that's why they were cheering. But I think it has to do with the second part of that, Kevin Durant being hurt and can't play. I think they were cheering because he can no longer play. He can no longer contribute to his team. I don't think they were hooting and hollering because he was hurt, but they were hooting and hollering because he can no longer play and contribute to his team. There's a difference there. And I also equate to what the fans did to when a player fouls out. So when you foul out, obviously you have to leave. You can no longer help your team and contribute. And the fans normally wave and say, bye, 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 when you foul out, because you can no longer help your team and contribute. I look at that as the same thing as what the fans are doing when Kevin Durant went down hurt. They weren't happy because he was hurt. They were happy because he could no longer contribute to the team or go against the Toronto Raptors. Now, if Kevin starts getting hate mail, people are sending him letters about, I wish you broke your leg or you broke your back or whatever. That's a different type of situation. That's going too far. But I think the gist of most of the fans there were happy that he can no longer contribute and play and go against the Raptors versus, him just straight up being hurt. Or it could be wrong. So let's keep going.
Carefully to what Boogie and Draymond said, because I agree with both of them. First of all, Boogie Cousins they don't idolize superstar athletes. They just want us to perform, and they don't care about the person. Yeah, well, no kidding, Boogie, of course. Like, this dude right here might be a great guy. We're not all coming out to see him sit there and be a great guy, right? Am I wrong?
No, Max, he's saying we're being used like laborers.
But that's right. That's why they get paid. They get paid because we want to watch them play.
That's not fair, Max. They're humans, too. That's what he's saying. That's what he's highlighting.
You want to debate this with me?
I would, because I actually think that's rude.
Well,
Jesus Christ, Molly. So these guys are being paid. It's not like they're working for free and they're forced to work, and one thing gets hurt, everybody laughs at them. These guys are making millions of dollars a year. They're well compensated for when they get hurt or whatever situation happens. So don't act like they're just doing the slave labor and they get nothing to it. These guys live excellent lives. They're retired. They probably have generations for their families retired off the type of money they can make. So they're not being used, and nobody's really going there and talking about, well, what's Kevin's life outside of basketball or all these other players? Granted, people do care, but it's not to that point that people really care or are looking at these guys like they're human. I paid my $80 to go to a game to see my team play and do what they do. I'm not necessarily worried about, their personal life or anything like that. So I know they're human, Molly, but they're well compensated to play, and I don't need to hear about their life. And as far as, Molly, do you think you're really there on First Take because of your deep, thoughtful insights on sports? You think people really care what you think? No, nobody cares what you think, Molly. You're there for a specific reason, and I don't want to get into why you're there, but everybody knows why you're there, and it's not because of your deep, rich insight that everybody cares about what you have to say. So let's keep going.
May be rude, but it is the fact. He's pointing it out like his feelings are hurt behind that. But the fact of the matter is there are lots of nice people in this audience, but millions of people aren't watching them play and paying millions of dollars to be nice people. They're not making millions of dollars to perform. He is. His job is to play basketball. That's why there's interest in him. Now, once we're interested in him because he can do that at a very high level, now we want to find out about the person, right? So Draymond points out that, Canadians are nice people. They sure seem to be to rude Americans, right? Like Canadians seem to be very nice people. So really what happened here? This was actually, believe it or not, the ultimate sign of respect for KD. What the fans were really saying, even like nice, kind Canadian fans, and in Jurassic Park, there's a big cheer that went up, right? We saw it on the news. What they were saying implicitly before they even thought of KD, the person, was, we have a chance to win a championship now. It was so obvious when KD was on the court that the Warriors were better. I mean, it was so obvious that Toronto just didn't have enough to beat them with KD. That without KD, all they were reaction to was just a gut reaction. We can win a championship now. That's it. And as soon as they were reminded, wait a minute, there's a human being who just got hurt. The Mollies of the world are upset right now.
Yeah.
Then people realize, these same fans realize, oh, wait a minute. Right. Even though we're so happy we can win a championship, they chanted KD, which was a much louder chant in the arena than the cheers were at first. It was KD.
Yeah, so we know all that, Max. And back to Molly. I mean, like I said, do you think people really tune in to watch you, Molly, to hear about your deep, enriched insight on baseball, basketball, football, and sports? No, nobody really cares what you think. You're pretty much there just for eye candy. I mean, don't you read the comments? And as far as, the fans going crazy, like I said, they're only going crazy because Kevin Durant could no longer contribute. He can no longer contribute, so the fans are going to be happy. And it works both ways, because when Kawhi Leonard was hurt and he was kind of limping around, do you know how many Golden State Warrior fans jumped up like, oh, KD's hurt, or Kawhi's hurt, he's hurt, he won't be able to contribute. Nobody wanted him to be hurt, but they're happy because he would no longer be a threat to the Golden State Warriors. That's why people were happy or cheering when Kawhi got hurt or he was limping around. Not because they wanted him to be hurt, but because he can no longer contribute. And it's the same thing with Kevin Durant. People were happy that he could no longer contribute. And like I said before, Molly, nobody's watching First Take to hear your deep, enriched insight on sports. You're there for eye candy. So let's keep going.
KD, meaning they acknowledged that he had a lot of heart and they're with him as a person. But their first reaction was, they were just celebrating a title, basically.
And like Boogie, that's a little trashy.
I don't know that it's trashy. It's just their honest reaction, that they react to them first as a player, second as a human being. But that's why the fans are all in the stands, not to watch human beings, to watch a game with players.
I will say that I think both you and Molly have valid points, but everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't have any problem with what Max is breaking down. And I don't have any problem with what you're breaking down. The fact of the matter is, Max is right when he says, he looks at Boogie Cousins and he says, that's what people expect from you. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should be more humane. But on many, many occasions, we have ample evidence throughout sports history that basketball players are not only treated like laborers, they're made sure, emphatically, I might add, they're reminded that they're laborers, okay? And this is why the athlete turn around and they try to get as much money as they possibly can, because they say, you don't give a damn about us anyway. Let's get as much money while we can. You understand? Do our thing and go on with our lives, because we know y'all.
So you are correct about that, but the athletes are it's not, like I said, it's not like they're working for free and they're just up there being exploited and they get hurt and nobody cares. These guys are making millions of dollars a year to go out and do what they're supposed to do. Now, do they want to talk to a regular Joe that's only making minimum wage and only $20,000 a year, and he still shows up to work? He still shows up hurt. He still shows up and he does what he's supposed to do, is not late and doesn't complain, and he's probably only making $20,000 a year. You think anybody comes to McDonald's or wherever he works to talk to him personally? No, I want my hamburger and french fries or whatever, and that's it. I don't care about you. And that guy's only making $20,000 a year. So to be so worried about the human aspect of Kevin Durant or a player that gets hurt, I'm sorry. I don't feel really that too sorry for you. I don't want you to get hurt, but you're well compensated, okay? You're well compensated. You're going to see the best of doctors. You're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. That's why you're getting paid. You're getting paid to do a job, and it's not like you're working for free. And again, if they have a problem with that, go talk to those people that have minimum wage jobs that still show up to work and they're hurt and they're only making $20,000 a year. And nobody cares about their personal life. So let's keep going.
Don't give a damn about us. So again, I don't think Max is wrong with what he's saying, but I don't think you're wrong either in pointing out how it's a damn shame that people feel that way. But we have to be very, very clear. There are people that feel exactly the way that Max expressed that they just felt. And that's the reality that exists in sports, particularly with the proliferation of salaries. You've got people that are more resentful towards the modern day athlete because of the money than ever before.
I have a question.
And I'm sorry, let me clear this up. So I do agree with Max and Molly, more with Max. But as far as Molly, what she's talking about, they're humans and all stuff. Yeah, we know that they're humans and we don't want anybody to get hurt. But all that kind of goes out the window. They sign on for this, okay? They know what they're getting themselves into when they sign that $1 million contract when you're a professional sports. And they have no problem with it. So as far as looking at them like they're human and all that, of course, we don't want them to get hurt. I don't want anybody to die on the court or on the field. But at the same time, they're being well compensated, okay? Well compensated. And we know they're human. So let's keep going.
Not rhetorical, it's genuine. Are you suggesting that because it feels wrong, that just feels exploitative, that people, even if their first reaction is, yes, we can win a championship, that there should be a layer of artifice over that to show concern? Or are you saying that at all times fans should care more about the person than the athlete? That should be their truth.
I think I'm just against anything being exploitative, and it's just not my nature. As much as I would want somebody to win a championship or my team to win a championship, and that's me personally.
Right.
And I get that the rest of fans don't feel that way, and I also get that what everyone was mentioning, that Canadians are wonderful people from what we've experienced, and that was just a small group. So it's actually a funny city to be highlighting.
So wait a minute, Molly. You're talking about you don't want to be exploited. You don't want anybody to be exploited. Again, do you think people are really tuning in to First Take to hear your deeply enriched thoughts and insights on sports? Do you think that's why people are really tuning in? You don't think that you're not being exploited and that you're not playing into the exploitation? There's a reason why you look the way you look every day on First Take. Okay? There's a reason why people talk to you and treat you the way they do. Nobody's asking you serious questions. You're not part of the debate. And it's like that for a reason. Do you not read the comments? Do you not read the comments? It just doesn't make sense. You don't want to be exploited. You're the last person on the show who should be talking about exploitation because you are being exploited and you know you've been exploited because you play into it. That's why you're there. Okay, so don't act like everybody's tuning in. Oh, what does Molly think? I really, really care what Molly thinks. I can't wait on Monday to hear what Molly has to say about Kevin Durant and how he's human. So let's keep going.
That, and it's a bit ironic.
Well, that's why everyone loves Molly.
Well, let's also draw a distinction. As much as reprehensible as I found their initial reaction, I also draw a distinction between when Philadelphia cheered, and we know how much I love Philadelphia, but when Philadelphia cheered that Michael Irvin was hurt on the turf at the old Veterans Stadium, at the moment, we didn't know whether or not Michael Irvin was paralyzed.
Right.
He wasn't moving. He was still.
Awful.
And so when folks called out Philadelphia, that's entirely different than